a slot machine really get hot and pay out more? Is roulette really a 50-50 game? Do the casinos rig the games to increase their profits? In this video, I'm going to be answering all of these questions and more as I dive into the top 5 myths that people have about casinos and share the truth with you. While all 5 of these myths are important to understand, the final myth is the one that I believe personally for a very long time. Myth number 1. Slot machines can be hot or cold. Many people believe that slot machines have hot streaks when they're more likely to pay out, and cold streaks when they're more likely to result in you taking a loss. But is this true? The reality is, slot machines operate using a random number generator, or RNG. These random number generators ensure that each spin is completely independent of the previous one. This means that the machine has no memory of past spins and has the same chance of winning on each spin regardless of the previous result. So the idea that a slot machine can be hot or cold is a straight up lie, a straight up myth. Every spin is a fresh start with the same odds as the last one. I can remember hiding in the bathroom at family parties or events and spinning slots on my phone. And every time that I'd place a spin, I was convinced that the 8th or the 9th spin was going to be the one that would pay me big. The truth was that every single spin was supposed to pay me back less than I put in. Slots have what's called RTP, or return to player, and a slot with a 95% RTP means that every dollar that you wager, you can expect to win back 95 cents. No matter what you do, what your spin strategy is, what size spins you're taking, the machine doesn't care. All the machine cares about is keeping its word on its algorithm that was programmed into it, meaning that you're just gonna lose if you keep spinning. Now, before I tell you about myth number 2, I want you to just smash that subscribe button if you want to continue to learn the truth about the casino industry, because that's exactly what I do here on my channel. So, myth number 2. Roulette is 50-50. Many people think that betting on red or black in roulette gives you a 50-50 chance of winning, but let's see if that's really the case. While it might seem like a coin flip, or while it might seem that you have an equal chance, the roulette wheel actually includes a green 0 that so many people overlook, especially when they're drunk. And in American roulette, an additional double green 0. These green spaces tip the odds just slightly in the favor of the house, a recurring theme throughout the rest of this video. In European roulette with 1 0, the odds of winning a red or black bet are 18 of 37, or about 48.6%. In American roulette with the extra double 0, the odds drop to 18 of 38, or about 47.4% chance of winning. So it's not quite 50-50. The house edge is always there, even if it feels like it's just a small margin that doesn't really matter. In fact, let's dive deeper into what the house edge actually means in myth number 3, which is that the casino rigs the games to get higher payouts. This is a common fear, and so many of you ask me if I think casino games are rigged. But let's break it down. Casinos don't need to rig the games because they already have a built-in advantage statistically. This is known as the house edge, or the mathematical edge that ensures that over time the casino will always take a profit based on the rules of the game. For example, in blackjack, the house edge might be around 0.5% with optimal play, while in games like Keno, it can be as high as 25%. So some are worse than others. These percentages ensure that the casino makes money in the long run, and they don't need to cheat because these percentages are the true statistical reality of the games. So while individual games can have big payouts, the overall design ensures that casinos stay profitable without any need to put magnets in the roulette ball or to load the dice. I had a ton of superstitions when I was gambling, and I mean a ton. But no matter what I did, whether I was banging on the table after a blackjack hand or blowing on the dice at the craps table, it didn't ever matter because the games were always designed so that you'd lose. Think about it. If the casinos made a game that they would lose money on, why would they still exist? And why would they be making billions of dollars? It just doesn't make sense. If there was a game that you could beat with a certain style of play, they would ban you. Look at card counting. Everyone with half a brain thinks they can figure out how to count cards, but not a lot of people actually can do it. And if you even can do it, you literally get put in a book where your face is recognized by security systems in the casino and you're banned, or kicked out, or trespassed, or at least told that you can't play the game that they know you have a chance of winning. A casino would never put a game in the house where you could beat them. Just remember that. Let's move on to myth number 4. A busy casino is more likely to pay out on slots because more money pumped in means that it's ready to pay out, right? Let's explore this idea. It's easy to think that the more people that play, the more likely the slots are to pay out. Look at a progressive jackpot, for instance. We often think of that big bucket from every water park that we went to when we were kids, where it would tip over once enough water was pumped into it. But remember that each slot machine operates independently with its own random number generator. So that bucket is just a figment of our imagination. The number of people playing has no influence over the outcome because each machine has its own mindset. It doesn't matter what happened the last spin. Each machine's payout is determined by its algorithm and payout structure, not by the total money that's pumped into the machine. It doesn't care. So whether a casino is busy or empty, the odds on any given slot machine remain the same. And those odds suck. Now, let's move on to the last myth. This is one that caused a ton of pain in my life, and the hope of all my videos I put out on my channel is to help you avoid going down that path and making this mistake. Because let me tell you, it was terrible. Myth number 5. Gambling isn't addictive because there's no substance involved. This is an extremely dangerous misconception. Gambling addiction, or gambling disorder, is a real and serious issue. It's considered an addiction because it triggers the brain's reward system in the exact same way as drugs or alcohol. The thrill of winning and the desire to chase losses can create a really powerful, destructive, and addictive cycle. Many people who develop a gambling addiction experience similar issues to those with substance addictions. Issues like compulsive behavior, financial problems, strained relationships, and compulsive lying. It's tough to understand, but the feeling of anticipating a big win actually triggers the same pathways in our brains as taking a sip of alcohol or using a drug. The same dependency can be created, and that was exactly what happened to me. I developed a gambling addiction when I was 18 years old by starting with daily fantasy sports, moving into sports betting, and eventually playing casino games. I was completely dependent on the pleasure that I got from placing a big bet and finding out what would happen next. It took away a lot of opportunities in my life and distracted me for 6 years because I was gambling every single day. And when I wasn't gambling, I was thinking about where to get money to pay back gambling debts. It wasn't logical, I didn't think about it, I just did it. It was who I was. I viewed myself as the gambler. And until I decided to get help, it was really ruining my life. So just because there's no substance involved doesn't mean that you're scot-free. You can get hooked to gambling the same way that you can get hooked to anything that releases dopamine in your brain. If it's bringing you pleasure, it's something that can be abused, which is sad yet true. Everyone says to gamble in moderation, or moderation is key. But for some of us, moderation is an impossibility. And if you feel like you've gone down the path of gambling where, hey, you can't stop yourself, you're borrowing money to gamble, you're losing sleep over it, or you're feeling bad after you're done, then check out this video on how I quit gambling. Because it's not worth continuing to live a life that's bringing you pain for the sole purpose of doing what you've always done. So if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling problem, there are resources available, and you can check the description down below for those resources because I've included them here on this video. And in the meantime, let's just keep trying to get better together, one day at a time.